$1,000.50 be paid in October using next fiscal year's budgeted funds. And then there's ongoing maintenance costs. We've not set a budget yet. Are we committing to a financial obligation before we have a budget setting? If so, then I suggest we consider taking this out of contingency so we can move forward and take advantage of the discounts and offerings that are being provided and not hamstring ourselves going into next year's fiscal budget cycle.
Okay. Councilman McCarthy?
Councilman Sanders, I appreciate that input. I think that's a great idea. And sorry.
No, you keep going.
Go ahead.
What do we, this might be off the cuff, we have to get numbers for what's in contingency from this remaining for this budget?
Mayor, I know you hate being thrown on the spot. I want to, Amy, hi. You know the budget so well for your department. So when it's asking to pull it from next year's fiscal year, is that going to be a problem?
So really quick too, didn't we already, yeah, please?
Oh, I'm not yelling.
You just keep trying to look. Get up and get the job here.
Go ahead.
In regards to your question,
Yeah.
that's why we submitted this via request versus a memo, because it is going to add to the budget next year. We didn't want to do a memo and say, hey, we just want to reallocate these funds, because then half of it is still going to be outstanding. Because of the savings that we benefit, as long as we do it before April 30th, that's why it was such a rush for us to come and do this.
And you know your budget the best. So if this remaining that's being asked to be taken out of the next year's budget, is that going to affect you in a negative way?
It'll have to increase our software licensing line by $12,798.50, because we will offset it a portion by not paying for Power DMS.
So when Councilman Sanders offered to pay it up front, the entire thing out of contingency, what's your thoughts? Oh,
Take it.
I don't know if I should have thoughts on that.
it's a compliment.
We appreciate it. It just, there's going to be a contract though with this that we need to be prepared for annual maintenance.
Oh, it's 311 or 456?
There's an annual renewal, yes.
There's a reason why that's so big. Anyway, oh, do you want this?
Okay. No, there's a motion and a second. Is there any amendment, or are we going to go with this? Councilman McCarthy.
I guess, I know there's a motion and second, but I would ask if the original motioner would be open to using contingency fund to set up the police department better, but then also using the HR consulting fee, which sounds like it's not being used right now, if that goes back to paying part of that HR program.
Guess use the like we're going to use the 5,000 to pay this, but you're wanting the HR consulting fee to pay
NeoGov, replace back on the enterprise funds.
Ooh, that's a good question.
So, the finance department, we manage the whole city. So we are paid out of the O1 fund, which is the general fund. And then you have O2, which is streets, and you can keep going through all that. But when we manage the whole city, we have to also manage water, wastewater, and sanitation. We used to take funds out of sanitation. However, it was previous councils, they didn't like that. They're like, no, that's just paid for by people that pay for their garbage. But we do a lot of financing for water and wastewater. So a quarter, 50% would be admin, as in NeoGov, and a quarter of what we do would be water, and a quarter would be wastewater. If we broke it down every month on how much work we did with just water and wastewater, it might be higher. So we just formulated an average and say, hey, 50% is going to be admin, a quarter of a quarter. We have in the past broken down all the way down to nickels and pennies. But you spend more money tracking those nickels and pennies than you do if you just use a formula. So that's why we did the NeoGov that way. And there's other bills that we do that way. Casell, a percent's paid from admin, but a larger percent of that's paid from water, wastewater, because it's the billing. But it also runs all the finance. So that's why, hopefully that helps explain why bills are split out. If you wanted just like how much time does HR break down into water and wastewater, you would take it by the number of employees in water and wastewater. So we could have done it that way, but we would at that point then have to go, how many employees are in rec? How many employees are in cemetery? We would spend more money breaking it down by employees and just say, this is the formula we use. It equates out over the years, so it's more than 1 year, and it works for us. But if you want a different formula, let us know. Does that help?
Councilman?
So, thank you, Paula. I guess, yes. For
Yes
me, when
and
the,
no.
yes and no. Because again, the memo stated that admin was paying for 50%. And yes, thank you for the clarification. 25% came out of water and 25% came out of wastewater for this NeoGov program. That's what paid for it. So admin paid for it and water and wastewater. But as we were told one time, the NeoGov is used for all city for hiring and everything with that. So again, my ask is, can we switch that percentage of water and wastewater kind of backwards to more the admin aside, I guess, with that 5,000 if we go this route with contingency funds for police department on Lexi Pool? So that again, water and wastewater are not carrying the bulk, I guess.
So for us, then the request for at the finance department would be how many employees are in each department and break it evenly across that. We would have to do that formula. And then that memo could come back to you as a transfer. I understand he wants $5,000 to go back to water and wastewater.
Yeah, Mayor.
Go ahead,
This is
Councilwoman.
really getting messy even for my brain. So can we just maybe look at something like that with our next budget cycle and just, I know this is sound like Councilman Harjo here, where I said the sins of previous council, or and then it weighs back onto us to make decisions. That was probably not good wording, but anyway, it's one of those things where you're trying to fix or remedy something that you weren't comfortable with, maybe that was voted on in the past, but just to keep it clear, I'm not going to go down the path that you're mentioning, or I won't support that.
So council, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders?
would the original maker of the motion support the 12, the remaining balance to be paid out of contingency? If so, would the maker amend their motion?
Council.
I didn't make
Who made the motion?
Oh,
Councilman McCarthy made the motion.
McCarthy.
You made
for
a
the
motion.
approval.
Okay. I don't
And
want
we
you to motion and second it, so Councilman McCarthy, what do you got?
I will amend my motion. I gotta think about this for a second.
Freudian slip.
I know.
Go ahead.
Give me a clear, I want $1,000 paid out of contingency, whatever the clear.
It's the $16,198.50.
It's right here.
Or there was the 12,000 is the
Yeah.
next fiscal.
Right.
We have the 16
Second
remaining
line.
balance.
Mayor, could we
Go ahead.
check with Amy
Amy.
on these numbers?
If we pay now, we will have to pay $16,198.50
Right.
because a portion of that was already slated to be budgeted next fiscal year.
Right.
So we don't have those funds right now.
So it's the remaining balance in the
Is
second.
the 16. Not Amy, sorry,
You're
Mayor.
good, Councilman.
Not the 12,798.
No, it's the 16,198. 50.
Councilwoman,
Amy, and that will cover everything that'll cover all the costs right now.
Councilwoman Workla, yes. I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, 17,400 and then 16,198.50. Yes.
I feel like if I make this motion, it's going to really.
Sure.
Mayor, I'd like to amend my motion.
Councilman,
Make a motion to approve the Lexi pool. Paul, you might have to help me with this. Amending, Paul, sorry. Yep. Amending the cost. No, I'm gonna make it this way. I'll make a motion, or amend my motion to approve the Lexi pool, amending the cost sharing approach. And I just have to on principle, taking the 5,000 out, the HR consulting, the 101415-41-05 out, and taking out of contingency $21,198.50.
okay, there's a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second for the purpose of discussion.
All right. It's been motion and second. Any further discussion?
Mayor.
Just one, there's a little bit of, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead,
I think-
Councilman Sanders.
I think Councilman Harjo got ahead of me.
No,
Oh, Councilman
go ahead,
Harjo.
go ahead, Councilman.
Councilman
Um,
Sanders.
Mr. Mayor, other than a slight bit of fiscal sleight of hand, I'd be okay with this.
Okay, Councilman Harjo.
Amy, can you verify something for me real quick here? There's a statement that says the total package cost is $33,598.50. Does the motion reflect the remaining amount accurately? So we're not undercutting or over.
Councilman Harjo, yes, it does.
Okay.
If you take the 9,000 from our 9,900, 3,400 from our 3,620, and then the 21,198.50 from contingency, it will cover the entire implementation amount.
Okay, wanted to verify. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion?
Mayor.
Councilwoman Workla.
Well, I'm just gonna say that I said I'm not gonna do this because you're muddying the waters. But I appreciate you standing on principle. Just get the damn thing paid off. Okay.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'm going to call for the question. Councilwoman Workla.
I
Councilman Harjo.
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy.
Aye.
Councilman Sanders.
Aye.
All right. We're down to number 2 on new business.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman McCarthy, once again, you are up.
I will try and make this short and sweet. So I asked for this action, or this discussion. I see it was placed as a non-action. I think this would be, I know there will be discussion on how implementation and staff training and everything, but when we as a city make comments that we want to be the most transparent, and I believe that we do try, I look at other municipalities and what we can do to, I guess, improve. And when I see other municipalities who audio record and post their other advisory committees such as DIFAC, Parks and Recs and everything, I simply have to ask this body, if we truly believe in transparency, why not go the extra step for the public? Case in point, how much would it been nice to have airport advisory committee meetings recorded for the public to view, to see what everything has been going on, and also for awareness. So again, I wanted to bring this to the body for a simple discussion to see if there's any appetite for moving forward with expanding. I know in the past, the P&Z has been implemented in the city ordinance as a requirement, although they've already done that in the past. But if we all believe in transparency and we've utilized tools and paid quite a bit for Microsoft Teams and that, why not maximize the usage again, being cognizant of the taxpayers' money and utilizing to the best, but also providing the most transparency we can.
Mayor,
Councilwoman Workla.
I support that as well. But however, Mayor, is there a negative or a downside to why I guess they haven't been recorded, or why maybe they shouldn't be recorded? I just want to see. Is it like a staffing issue? Is it a like? I'm just trying to see. Is there?
I would probably say staffing. You got to pay someone to do them. Taxpayers, you know what I mean? They were using tax dollars to do it. But yeah, other than that, I don't know why they've not been. I know that the airport does theirs. They have Amy, I think, that does those, right, Amy? So we pay Amy to go do those minutes.
Are you, Mayor?
Councilwoman?
Are you asking Councilman McCarthy for them to be audio visual, not just minutes? Because I think Amy does minutes and then posts the minutes, but actual audio video recording for the public is in addition to.
Mayor.
Councilman?
Yes, so the video, audio recording and posting. I know that staffing is, again, I knew this was going to be brought up, but I will use the example of, we have staff that records P&Z meetings, and we had the same staff that was on the DIFAC in previous. So again, that's a utilization that we could still be returning, and I know that will be brought up of training in that, but if we already have staff there that is utilizing in some meetings, why aren't we using it in all meetings?
Mayor,
Councilman Harjo?
I think I can help answer that one in the sense that planning and zoning, DIFAC, those examples are A, statutorily required. B, they have budgetary implication in the sense that staff is required to be at those to facilitate the legal authority that those recommendation bodies have. Committees have no power, they have no budget allocated to those, other than, I think for airport advisory, we have Amy on staff to facilitate meeting minutes in an official capacity. This would introduce staff OT for every advisory committee. There are some differences in where these things get funded from. Planning and zoning gets funded in portion due to development fees and building permit fees. DIFAC, if I remember correctly, is funded from a portion of impact fees, in the sense that those members of city staff that come in the after hours to attend to those meetings at 5 and 6 p.m. are a portion of the municipality that is collecting the fee for those things. But here we have no contributing revenue for any of these advisory committees. The airport advisory committee has no attributed revenue, no budget line. I think that's the distinction between those.
Mayor.
Councilman McCarthy?
I think 2 points for clarification. One, I would like to see where it statutorily says that DIFAC has to be audio and video recorded, because if that is the case, then why wasn't it, especially when the committee had asked that? Two, I think it's very concerning if we are using impact fees to fund, I guess.
Mayor, point of order, I never said that the impact fee was audio and video recorded. I stated specifically that the staff presence was paid for.
Okay.
Through the
Councilman,
general fund.
Let's stay within the guidance, please.
Again, I think this just boils down to a simple, I think, we have these advisory committees that are still covered under open meetings. We still have staff with them. If we truly believe in transparency and we've utilized all this money for an upgraded program, teams and that, why not video, audio record and post it to it if we truly believe in transparency and not just using a, say, a simple logistical question when it comes to staffing.
Mayor,
Councilman Workla.
this is a non-action item, so if opposing views can bring everything to the table and so we can press forward. Can we get this on the agenda as an action item to be voted on, and then we can weigh all sides for the next meeting?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders.
question for council. Paul, you still there?
Yes, sir.
Should this body decide that committee meetings be recorded, what impact will that have for the Youth Advisory Committee?
Well, it depends on if you're including the Youth Advisory Committee in the meetings that are going to be recorded.
And if that were the case?
Then they would obviously still, that'd be interesting. Where do they meet?
Mayor.
Library. Hang on 1 second.
Okay, so that you would have to create some sort of, I mean, if all meetings are going to, by committees are going to be recorded, then they would have to be as well. I have some issues with that, given that they're minors. So that can pose a couple problems there.
Thank you, sir.
Go ahead, Councilman.
You're welcome.
Well, I'm the liaison for that committee, and I would not, as a mother of children of that age, I would not want them recorded. So
Right,
there's
right.
always stipulations you put in there, right? Like all committees except this one due to, their age or whatever. So
Well, the parameters that Councilman Sanders gave me was that they would be part of your motion to approve. And yeah, I have some issues with that as well.
And then lastly, do you want them all here at City Council, since I think this is the only place that has the audio visual? So just food for thought. Just food for thought. Yeah.
let's get it all.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. We'll put this on the next agenda. Okay. Let's run down. Council cool with that? Okay. We're gonna run down to action item number 3, deliberation decision. Cheryl Baker Spence requested located at 1895 North Haskett. Cheryl, come on down.
Oh, sorry.
I sat too long. I am amazed at what goes on at these meetings. I should come more often.
I just had an email from that. Someone saying that.
Mine is not that important, but it's personally is to me. My name is Cheryl Barker. I've lived here since 1949. So I've been here longer than most of you are old. What I'm asking is, to me, is very simple compared to what you go through. I would like to build a privacy fence in my backyard. I have lots of reasons to want a privacy fence. And it butts up to my daughter's front yard. And the reason that I've been given that it wouldn't be a good idea is for being able to see down the street on my side of the street. So I took pictures. I wrote a little note and I took pictures and I gave them to Hank. And you can see the stop sign, which is on my side of the street, if you pull up to the sidewalk. With a full fence, you would be able still to see the stop sign. My daughter put a circular drive in her yard because she didn't want a front yard. So she put a circular drive there. And there's a plot of grass, I don't know how, I meant to measure, between the driveway and the fence line. So you have a space there. To pull up, before you cross the sidewalk, anybody coming down the street, and when they come down the street, this street, they're on the other side of the street. When they're coming down up the street, you can see all the way around the corner. There's no fences in that way, in that direction. So this side of the street is got no traffic on it that you can't, I don't know how to explain it.
Can
I
we
was
see an
just-
image? Can we pull up an image and then she can
Yeah,
direct? That'd be helpful. I mean, so she can point to the screen and show us. And will that be helpful?
I don't,
yes.
the access,
Hang on
can you
just
put
a
this
sec.
on?
Hang on, I'll throw it up here.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Visuals are always handy. Stop it. I can't throw anything at you.
Me either.
Hang on. I closed it too quick. There we go. There we go. Trying to zoom in on
Thank
this.
you.
You're gonna probably see a empty lot where my house is. Yep. That's my empty lot, isn't it? Okay, you can see my daughter's driveway, the circular driveway. It's a very narrow driveway. It's only for one car at a time. Also, it's very small because there wasn't room enough to put a nice big one. And so you have to go really slow around it or you drive off of it. They don't use it hardly ever. In fact, I've seen my son-in-law's car parked there for a week before it was ever moved because they don't use it that much. It's usable, but they don't use it. Now, on the left side there is their driveway to their garage and a gravel driveway to their backyard. So all of their driving in and out is on the opposite side of the house. Where that red line is there on the right-hand side, that's where I want to put my fence. Also, and, oh gosh, I don't know, I just get so confused. Not confused, but I'm old. Anyway, from Haskett, that little street was about 300 feet. So you can't drive fast down it. When you take the corner, you can't speed up to get to the next corner. It's a very short street. Also, it's not a very wide street. I don't know why there's not signs of 15 miles an hour on that street, but you don't need them because nobody drives fast on that street. Where I was showing you where that one arrow is on the circular drive on the right-hand side, if you park your car there, you can see down the street to Haskett, but you can't see the stop sign. You have to go pull your car up to the sidewalk, not to the street. You're still not in the street. You're just on the sidewalk. You can see the stop sign.
What about someone, Mayor? Sorry. What about if someone was walking on the sidewalk?
Okay, I took pictures from Haskett Street with a car with the nose out, with it back, and just the nose of the car is out. You can see it from Haskett Street. They can see it walking down the sidewalk if there was a car coming out of there. Because you have to stop before you just do before you pull out in the street. And if the car is in the sidewalk, of course, then the car is going to see if there's anybody on the street. And there's I don't know, maybe 10 feet. I wished I'd measured it in between. So if you passed my fence, you still have 10 feet to go and be able to see the whole front of that house. And I talked to a couple of fencers. I don't know what else to call them. and they didn't see any problem with having a full fence there. My neighbor across the street didn't understand why I couldn't put a fence there. And of course, my daughter doesn't care that I put a fence there.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders, sorry.
Councilman Harjo, can you back up a couple of pictures? What I'm looking for is the one immediately above the fence application.
And she's here before you guys because our code, Hank, can you give, while he's looking for that, give an
There.
explanation of the code?
That's the car parked on the side, the front of it is on the sidewalk.
Right, but there's another
Councilman
one.
Sanders, is this the one you're looking
That's
for?
not the
or
one I'm looking for.
This
Not
one?
That's
that
the
one.
car, yeah, that's from the sidewalk.
One more. No, keep going. Is there another one?
That shows the
That one.
grass.
Where was that picture taken, ma'am?
Okay, I am standing at the stop sign.
And you're looking back toward your daughter's house?
Yes, and you can see the car's not in the street even yet. So when they come around the corner, even if the car was backed up before it got to the sidewalk, you'd see it.
So the fence that is there, how tall is that fence?
6 feet.
So there's already a,
No, that's a tarp. I put a tarp up there so you could see where the fence would go.
so you're showing us what it would look like if a 6-foot fence were allowed.
Right.
Mayor?
Go ahead.
Hank,
And-
there's a 6-foot fence on the other side, right? Where the driveway does have the ingress
Correct.
and egress. Hank, so there, is that?
I believe that's a county address.
Oh.
But still, he's not supposed to have a fence there because he's not, unless he got permission to take 10 feet. When I annexed in the city gave me 10 feet, vacated 10 feet on my side of the road. So, because they get to build all these new houses when I annexed in. So, his fence is out 10 feet also, and I don't know if he's got permission to put it out there, so he probably doesn't pay taxes on that 10 feet if he doesn't have it out there.
Hank, do you have an opinion?
I just,
So, are you talking about the brown fence to the right, or are you talking about the white fence in the rear?
the white fence.
Yeah, the white one's in the county.
Yeah,
Yeah. My concern with it was that car right there is in the sidewalk,
that's right.
right there. So if that person's pulling out of that driveway, they cannot see until they get their engine block into the sidewalk. If anybody's coming on a bicycle, whatever the case may be, that's my concern. And that's why that ordinance exists, is for pedestrian vehicular safety. So,
But that's, nobody comes from that side of the street except for his front house is towards Haskett. Leanna's house is the only house on either side of the street that faces 19. Hers is the only house that
Right.
faces 19.
Cheryl,
It's so
or
short.
not Cheryl, sorry. Council, the reason she's here is she was denied the variance by Hank, so she has the appeal process to go to you guys. So what do you guys want to do?
Mayor.
Councilwoman Workla.
This is something. Property rights are absolute, and I don't like to mess with people's property rights, but when you also decide to annex into the city, you have to follow certain codes within the city. And so that's where my struggle is. Does your daughter have any interest in re-landscaping her front if she doesn't even use the turnaround?
The reason she put it in so they wouldn't have a front yard, except for that little patch. I mean, and I used to have a circular drive, but mine went behind my house because that's where the parking was. And we've always loved circular drives, and that's,
But
she's
to
not
answer my-
gonna move.
okay.
No, it's for, I don't know the word, looks more than anything else.
All right, council. What's your thoughts?
If I may say, I wouldn't want to do something that would cause anybody any injuries or hurt anybody, and I don't think that, well, that's because I want it, probably, but I don't think that it would hinder any movement of people or vehicles. I just don't.
Mayor.
Councilman Harjo.
Ms. Barker, can I ask you a question? This is purely hypothetical. I'm going to zoom in on this portion right here that's kind of the overlooking portion of where you want to put that 6-foot fence. So, in a lot of other senses, and I'll make it very simple, there's what we call the vision triangle, right? So, like if you pull up to an intersection that you want to have some clearance at the corner so you can see that traffic happening. And this is also a question for Hank. Is there a middle ground in which, if you follow my cursor across here, that Ms. Barker, if you were to take that for being a 90 and make 245s, so in the instance that somebody is walking down this sidewalk approaching your daughter's house, that they could see that person coming, would that be something that would
Well,
be a
they can.
compromise to you?
I mean, there's the person walking would be able to see the car if it had stopped there before it pulls out in the street, which my son is a very good driver.
Cheryl, I think
Yeah.
question is, would you be amenable to have your fence go like this?
I thought about it, and I could do that. I don't want to, because I have my mind set up. No, I take care of myself, and I do my own thing, and I mow my own yard. I do all that kind of stuff, and I don't want to go outside my fence to take care of my yard. I'm getting too old to what I've got a big area, and the only way to this backyard is through the back door. If I'm mowing or working in the backyard, I have to go through my house, the front, and go all the way around to this corner to maintenance, and I just am too old to do
Councilman, I
that.
didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I thanks for illustrating that there.
Yeah, but I did think about that for if I have to.
Councilman
Thing.
McCarthy.
Ms. Barker, I have a question for you, just a hypothetical. So with this, we've been provided that this falls under the city ordinance for the height when
Right.
it comes to that.
I understand.
What would you say to, I guess in a hypothetical, to all the other homeowners here in town that have, been held to the same ordinance and that?
I don't believe that they have, but that's okay.
Do you have any incidents or examples to show they haven't, or?
It's not my business, and I wouldn't even have told you that that was my daughter's house if it was,
Councilman.
So, and I appreciate your perspective on this, Ms. Barker. I guess I'm just kind of curious because when I'm driving around town and looking at other fences, they are meeting the ordinances and that. And so I couldn't find
Right.
any examples that have the exception. So I guess that's where I'm
and I
coming
did,
from.
and I can't remember where it was, but most of them are pretty good. I do know that on 10th Street going from Highway 30 to 18th, that's a main street.
Right.
Now.
Hey, Cheryl, I'm going to let Councilman McCarthy finish.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. So I guess I struggle with this, and again, I understand your perspective on this, and I'm very much for property rights, but I guess for me, I struggle because we have examples of the homeowners that have, followed this ordinance when it comes to their fences, either corner lots or inside lots and everything like that. So I guess for me, I'm just trying to say that, well, I understand. I feel that if we make an exception here, what causes us not to make an exception for others down the road or those who have currently following the ordinance?
Now, what I was trying to say is, if you go from Haskett down 10th Street to 10th Street and cross over, there's 3 backyards. There's no sidewalk on the left-hand side. They all have double fence, double gates in their backyards, and they come right up to where if there was a sidewalk. They can't see out, and that's a main street. I mean, that goes straight through. My street doesn't. It turns right away. And that's one thing that I've noticed, that they can't come out their backyard and be able to see down the street. And I'm not asking to do that, because you can see down the street when you come out of this driveway.
Ms. Barker?
Yes. Oh, gosh, I'm sorry. I'm hard of hearing, too. I thought it was behind me.
I'll tell you, I'm having a little bit of deja vu right now,
Mm-hmm.
because my very first experience with a city council was in this chamber back in about 1986, when I built a fence around my brand new home,
Mm-hmm.
and
that's what
then
I
got
have.
cited for it being out of code because it was within setback areas, but I had done it based on the information that was provided to me by a city employee at the time. So I came and
Right.
pleaded my case to the city council, say, guys, I built this fence based on the specs you gave me, and now you tell me it's a violation. And I found several folks who had similarly situated stuff. So I do understand wanting to get some things done a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
and I do understand the need for the codes. I'm also, with all the respect in the world I can come up with, because you made the point, yeah, you've been in Mountain Home longer than I've been alive. Our concern also is that house is going to survive you.
Yes, it goes
And
to my daughter.
and if everything goes as you have it planned, it will go to your daughter.
Yes,
But one thing about life is its predictability is uncertain at best.
that's correct.
So we try to make conditions that will make it safe and consistent for everybody who comes and goes as life takes its circle. So my question to you is, if you want the privacy fence, are you willing to take that deviation and perhaps zero-scape that little triangle so you wouldn't have to go around to mow it?
May I ask you something?
Of course.
How far back would I have to take it?
That would be something I would probably take up with the engineer. The vision triangle they're referring is a certain distance, and I don't know what that would be in that application. So
I'm so sorry. I know, if you want to get close as you can to city code, there's a 20-foot front setback, so it'd be 20-foot in each direction if you want to.
Yeah, see
There'll
ya?
be plenty of site.
Don't want that. I'm gonna be
Just say
really
the first
upset.
point of deviation has to be 20 foot back.
So
Yeah,
we are, on front setbacks, you have to have 4-foot chain link or 3-foot cedar up to 20 feet back on your front setback. I do have a little leeway on making terminations depending on certain situations like this. If you can park a car there and you can completely see down the road, coming, they can see, and vice versa. So, that's a case by case basis. So that'd be a site visit going out there. This sand like this would be enough. Could be 10 feet, could be 20 feet. But off the top of my head, the vision triangle, I would call it 20.
In my instance, I acted on information I was given over the phone and then found out that information should not have been given to me that way. In your case, you followed the process and you followed the procedure to us. And I really want to try to accommodate you, but I've also got to keep in mind that the next people who come along may or may not, and the development, as fast as towns start to grow, we don't know what the development is going to be in the future. I want to try to find a compromise that works for both us and for you. And the closest one I see right now appears to be going out and taking the minimum amount of setback necessary to ensure the vision triangle, not only for now, but for the decades to come. So if you would be agreeable to that, we could look at having that, at least go out and have that piece done, see what it would take to make that work. And then perhaps come back to us and say, this is something I'd be willing to do in order to make the rest of it happen.
okay.
Councilwoman Orkla?
100% agree with you.
So
I understand where you're coming from, and it's, I just thought I had crossed all my T's and dotted all my I's and taken the pictures and showing that you could see down the street. People could see the front of the car when they're walking on the sidewalk.
And in fact, in my case, I had 3 council members come out to my house when I wasn't there and actually drive up in my driveway and then check backing out because that was the initial concern.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, you know,
I
we
had
told
the
you that
mayor
way.
come to my house.
I didn't know that back then.
I thought he was in control of everything.
I told you, you gotta go to these guys.
He's
Mr. Mayor.
not.
Sanders.
But
Mr. Mayor,
him and Hank came out, and they're very nice gentlemen. Thank
For
you very
motion.
much.
Yes, sir. I move we table this item until such time as city staff can work with Ms. Barker on a potential compromise and establishment of a vision triangle with minimum setbacks necessary for a safe fence installation, and come back with us at that time for a request for variance.
Second.
Man, that's quick. There's been a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman McCarthy?
Aye.
Councilman Sanders?
Aye.
Councilwoman Workla?
Aye.
Councilman Harjo?
Aye.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, we're gonna run down to Mr. Dale King. You got 30 seconds. No, I'm just kidding, Dale. Come on down, buddy.
Remember I told you about single overriding communication objectives. Here's the application.
Share my screen then.
Thank you, Councilman Harjo.
Mhm.
Oop, I didn't do that.
I've been watching him.
But she,
Hey, Decker, this is why I turned my camera off.
There you go.
All right, Dale, rock and roll.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. It's my pleasure to be here. And residents of Mountain Home, my name is Dale King. I'm the Director of Economic Development for the City of Mountain Home. And there was a question recently about the impact on recruiting industry and growing industry in the city, and with concerns to wastewater, if I remember correctly. So I was watching from afar that night and tried to capture a little bit of that. And this might be the beginning of a conversation around it, but I wanted to get started. And there's a lot of data out there to try to compile. I'm not an economist. I want to say that right now. I'm not an economist. But I am an economic developer, and I'm very passionate about the city. And by the way, since I've got the microphone, I only have 3 minutes, I better say right up front, I've been very excited these last 8 months to see the reputation of the city as I go out into the community and talk about it, and even go abroad, more abroad in the Pacific Northwest. And so I'm proud to be here and very happy to be a part of this city.
And Dale, you got more. I'm just giving you a hard time.
No,
You
I
got
know. I seriously can hardly introduce myself in 30 seconds. So I want to start with kind of a broad sweep about the economic development and the RFI process, request for information, something that is as old as time, so to speak. Requests for information are really businesses coming to the city, not actually to the city directly, but typically to the state or to the Boise Valley Economic Partnership. And so the Boise Valley Economic Partnership is a Treasure Valley partnership. It actually stretches primarily Canyon and Ada counties, but I consider us the bookend of that county, along with Caldwell at the other end. So I wanted to just show some data that they've got, because they have empirical evidence about what things that are happening with economic development and the request for information. And so starting on the left, I want to bring attention to the numbers 41, 16, and 4. And this is data back from 2025. And so that RFI, request for information process, comes in with leads. So they're processing leads or inquiries to the state from businesses that want to move to our state. And so in 2025, they registered about 41. So this is for the valley. This is the entire state, but this is our region. Okay. And so site visits for the region was 16, and announced project wins was 4. Okay, so I want to bring attention to those numbers. That's 10% of the project leads that come in. So in some sales scenario, that's really good. Other sales scenario, it's not very good. And so I just want to bring attention to that, because when an RFI comes in, request for information comes in economic development, there's like 2,600 other communities in the United States that are competing with us. So economic development is kind of a tough racket. It's kind of a tough game. And so, so it's very competitive. And some states have war chests to recruit and to throw money at companies, and others have less. And so we try our best with tax incentives and different things and having great communities. Want to mention on the right-hand side there, you see the yellow box, the wins. Those are the 4 companies. And if you tally up the FTE, full-time equivalent employees, that comes to a little less than 700 employees in the initial moving of the company to the region. So when you go down to the bottom right, where it says 5-year impact, those 700 jobs grow to 5,851 is the speculation based on numbers from the companies and such. So I want to bring attention to that, because our long-term planning, we've got to be honest. So if I'm talking to a company that's talking about 100 employees, they could be talking about 1,000 employees in 5 to 10 years. And with some of the things that are going on in aerospace, and I'll touch more on aerospace, aerospace manufacturing is doubling in the next 10 years, which is a massive, aerospace is a massive industry for our region, especially with Boeing next door. At least I consider it next door. And so those are things to think about if we're talking about infrastructure, industrial lands, and all those things that are taken into consideration, our schools, so on. When you look at industry sectors, just below the yellow box, I'm sorry, I'm not consistent throughout the presentation with my colors here, but the manufacturing is 53%. I'm going to touch more on the manufacturing and why manufacturing versus going out and getting a Burger King or something. And so, and again, I'm not going to pay a lot of attention to the data on the left side, but right in the middle there is the trend of total RFIs. So those RFIs are leads and inquiries to our state, businesses that are considering moving here. Now understand, not all of them move here and not all of them move. And so those are just leads. So it's not a direct correlation to landing anywhere. So they could be totally bogus. But I want to bring attention to the 5-year impact, total jobs starting in the top right again, less than 700, total jobs being 5,851. It's a growth. And that's the whole idea of business, right? It's going to grow. And so if we're looking at our infrastructure has to grow along with that. And I get ahead of myself on that slide. So this gives you a little bit more on the leads themselves, with 23, 24, 2025, 24, 24, 2023. And when you look at the yellow side of the pie chart, it's primarily manufacturing, which is good for us, and I'll talk a bit more about that. But it's a lot of manufacturing that's on the move, and it's on the grow in our country, especially with the act, the Reshoring Act and the Reindustrialization Act, movement, I should say. Why focus on industrial recruitment? You know, I've got a stack of Post-its in my office of people that said, I want a Panda Express, et cetera, and different restaurants and such. I want a Panda Express too, and we'll work on that. But what I want to do is talk a bit about why industrial recruitment versus spending our energy on other things. Industrial recruitment brings new dollars in the community. It's a primary employer. And so when a primary employer goes out, let's take a dairy farmer here. A dairy farmer, they may sell it locally, but if Chobani is selling it around the world, they're actually a primary employer because they're bringing new dollars into our economy. And so, and those new dollars, typically, at least in manufacturing, are going to multiply 4 or 5 times. So if someone brings in $1 million into the local economy, it's going to multiply because they're going to spend it at other local services, spend it at Safeway, so on and so forth, and those people are going to spend it, and those people are going to spend it. And so, and those are new dollars, so not just the old dollars recycling. And so I feel that it's our priority is to make sure we have new dollars coming out of our community to strengthen our community. So primary employer impact, I've talked about that, above average wages. Manufacturers are going to give higher wage jobs. And that's been of concern to me. because I have kids and I think high school students should have a place to go work that's a potential career starter. And I'll talk a bit more about that. Tax base expansion, we all want that. A single 200 job industrial, this bottom one. A single 200 job industrial employer at 70,000 average wage adds 14 million in annual payroll. So think about it, 14 million in average payroll into the community. They're spending their money here. That money comes into our community directly. A single 200 job industrial employer, okay, sorry, and generating property tax, sales tax, utility revenue for the city. So what's the gap? Mountain Home has the workforce, the cost structure, and the location, but lacks infrastructure and site inventory to compete. And I'll get a little bit more into that data. Now, why advanced manufacturing? Lower water requirement. And so I love the fact that we're agriculture, but it's difficult with the water issues. Special this year. And so, unlike data centers or food processing, precision manufacturing uses minimal water, critical for Mountain Homes, water capacity constraints. So, am I talking too fast? I feel like I'm talking really fast. Okay. So that also brings in higher wages. And so higher wages is what's going to build our downtown, right? Or shops, people that have disposable income, they can spend locally, and then our services will grow. University pipeline, we're close enough and we're far enough away. I love where we live because we're not in the city. We're not in Boise. But we're close enough that for manufacturers, they want access to engineering services. They're going to have that base in the valley. And for that matter, we're not that far from Twin Falls. And so we're sitting in an incredible place to be really going after manufacturing because we have two manufacturing bases in our region between Twin Falls and the Treasure Valley. So Twin Falls is recognized nationally as a food manufacturing and processing center. Let me see. And then airport proximity, we're nice and close. Manufacturers love to be able to get on a plane and go somewhere. Why aerospace manufacturing? Because it's doubling in size, and I've been in the industry, I understand the value of it. But one of the things that I really love about aerospace manufacturing is the fact that they love working with young people. And in time, we can talk a bit more about the apprenticeship programs some of these companies have for high schools, where young people can come out and not just learn a metal cutting skill, but they can learn materials, basically cutting edge materials. But then also, it's aerospace is still a craft. There's things that robots they haven't figured out how to have the robots do yet, and they're still learning about avionics, believe it or not. And but anyways, my experience has been with aerospace CEOs is like they want to train their own because they don't want to train the bad habits out of people. And so that we also have transferable skills with our F-15 maintenance technicians, avionics, logistics personnel, et cetera, that have direct application to aerospace manufacturing, defense electronics, et cetera. So, and also for maintenance repair operations for companies that are in the East Coast that don't have a Western presence yet, Mountain Home is the perfect place for them. Let me see. Because so many of our technicians on the base and so many have met here in town, they have essentially, with really quick study, can have their A&P certification, which is an airframe, and power plant certification, which is necessary for maintenance and repair operations for planes. So we're really set up with a workforce that's keyed towards aviation. Now, when I say aviation, I'm talking about planes that fly. When I'm saying aerospace, I'm talking about planes that are being built. So it's the manufacturing side. Let me see. We also have in our opportunity zone, that's another term, but in our opportunity is the Idaho energy commercialization. And so there's a whole movement for commercialization of energy. Those are transferable skills with aerospace. And that's another thing I've been talking to different leaders about is the fact that we need to be considering Mountain Home as a place for final manufacturing and assembly of energy and so on and so forth. So, and again, we're close to the universities. And then defense contractor proximity. What's interesting is that the same aerospace, the same space that our Air Force Base flies, that they do their training is the same space that Lockheed uses from Mojave Desert. They access the same space and they put in time and schedule it, and they use the same. Why not come to Mountain Home? Why not be based on a Mountain Home and save yourself some tax dollars rather than other states? Again, down the bottom right, what's very interesting is the military occupation concentration. We're 20x now, our military numbers. So these were some of the aerospace that were in the pipeline, things that we had looked at. 200 to 400 jobs, 250 jobs. Again, their investment is usually in the millions, tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions, and you can see the bottom of there is up to the billion. The pipeline since I've been here has been about 19 RFQs. So I started with BVEP and Boise Valley Economic Partnership to show you kind of paint that picture of the region that we're in, to see the activity and the busyness. This office has been responding to RFIs for years and has quite a few site visits. I'm just going to do my own anecdotal information from when I've been here, since I wasn't there yet. And we can dig into that if people really want to know that information. But I'm hoping to be able to answer these questions with my experience. Business, there's 6 companies that we've submitted to. Businesses declined. Basically, our land prices are too high. And one after further information, we withdrew the submission just because of wastewater. And so of the 13, so we started with 19. Let's go over to the number 4. That number 4 are the 4 that we weren't even considered for. Not because there's anything wrong with Mountain Home, it's just they had a preference and a deference for another community, and they're asking specifically for that. The businesses were. 2 we're still working on, but the 13 that had no submission, it's because right out of the gate, wastewater, airport, infrastructure, buildings, or pollutants that those companies would have had in our community. That's quality of life issues, of course.
Hey, Dale, your numbers are different on there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was like sitting there and I was realizing I wasn't making sense. Sorry, I had a couple hours to like go through my slides, and I was realizing my numbers didn't make sense. They didn't add up. So I'll send you the update on this. So I apologize.
So, Mayor,
Go ahead.
sorry. So, just for clarification, so I know different numbers here, but so 6 submitted and the businesses declined to pursue because of land price, but one of the 6 was withdrawn due to wastewater?
Yeah, I pulled it back after further information.
Okay, because this says 4 and then it says wastewater. And
I'm sorry.
Nope,
Yeah,
I
no,
just wanna make sure.
I should have brought it to your attention that I was back there editing. So, any other questions on that?
I have questions on something, but not that one.
Go back?
It's up to you.
Yeah.
I don't want to interrupt your presentation if you want to finish it first.
Okay, I'll just keep rolling then.
Okay.
On the next page, essentially, those are the 19, and essentially, there's quite a bit of manufacturing in there and industrial that would be good for our community. If we had the infrastructure, if we had the wastewater. One of the things I want to bring up too, I'll get to that a little bit more here. I get ahead of myself. One case study, we did do a site visit since I've been here. I thought I was able to learn quite a bit from that. I just want to say hats off to the team here, the staff. We're really stellar. And I felt like we really were able to do really a professional presentation to this company that expects a professional presentation. Everybody on the staff was really excellent and rose to the occasion. You see, okay, out of the 6 that we've actually submitted for, 1 we actually got not only a site visit or site visit call, but we actually essentially what that is hey, listen, you're one of 5. And we'll let you know in a couple months or a month if you're one of 3. And if you're one of 3, you'll have a site visit. And so we found out we were going to have a site visit. We did the site visit in February. Again, we learned a lot. And they declined again due to land pricing here in the area. So land's really tough because they can go to Texas and get a price that just, what are you going to do? You know? But then also within the region, they're going to, people are asking for land that doesn't have a lot of shovel. We don't have a lot of shovel ready. We do have some, but there's a lot of properties that just don't have the infrastructure to warrant the price. And the reason you pay more for shovel ready is because the infrastructure's there. You got to pay for infrastructure one way or another. The key lesson: when Mountain Home responds, we advance. This engagement proves the city can compete. The barrier is not a workforce it's not our workforce or location. It is our wastewater, land inventory, and pricing. And this is something that's solvable. So I think we're down about the last slide. Why we couldn't compete. Limited industrial land inventory. And again, I mean, we have RFIs that come in and ask for 1,500 acres. We have 350 acres that are shovel ready. Wastewater capacity for every manufacturer that comes in, you know, even if they have a low wastewater or water requirement, still the EDUs required for their housing is going to be, you know, hundreds probably. Hopefully, if they're bringing in those kind of numbers, at least over time, if not immediately, over time. So when we were talking to, they would have had a requirement for housing for about 200, and their EDUs, I think, might have been about 40. And so, you know, right there, it's like takes a little bit of a bite out of what's already happening here. And so, and then again, no qualifying building stock. A lot of companies are asking for, you know, prefab or pre-existing buildings, and they're asking for 50 to, you know, 550,000 square feet. Runway restrictions. I don't think they had a great little airport going, but one of the operations was more on the maintenance repair operations side. I really wanted that one. I was just like, man, that would be the beginning of it. But again, we didn't have the setup yet for the FAA. And they don't want to wait. I mean, Chris is working hard on that stuff, but you know, business wants to turn and burn and go on to the next place if they don't have if you don't have what they want. And then the power capacity, we have to wait a little bit for infrastructure. I think that was about it. So, did I make 3 minutes? Jenny?
When did you, Mayor? When did you go to Linwood, Washington, for that aerospace
Went to
meeting?
PNA back in February.
February.
Yeah.
What? I'm just asking. No, I just want to go because Councilman Sanders did an after action report from that meeting.
Right.
And then you had a site visit here from a physical site visit. Was it from that meeting?
No.
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 Did you get any interest from that?
There is some interest. It's the thing about aerospace and aerospace manufacturing, it's all relational. And so those things take time. Right now, planting the seeds and getting the word out that Mountain Home's open for business. You know, the thing that was very interesting to me, and it kind of affirmed the direction for aerospace for me and aviation, is when you're standing there in the, you know, some reception and you know, somebody you've known for years starts talking about the F-111 they flew out.
Yeah, sure.
And then I got a city councilman standing there saying I worked on the TFB program. Is that right? TBF? Huh?
Rain following radar.
Okay, so TBR, what I got? TFR. So the TFR program supporting the F-111. And so and you see these connections that are made really quickly, and those things take time. But there was some interest, and I had some folks telling me, dude, we don't want to be here. We're locked in. We're landlocked in. We'd rather be where you are, out fishing and having a lifestyle and whatnot. And so there's definitely interest. They're in the Seattle corridor because they have to be. But Boeing is doubling, and Boeing is in a mood to work with manufacturers. And because manufacturers have to up level significantly in the next 10 years. It's profound what's happening in aerospace manufacturing. It's really profound. And it's not just a bounce back from COVID. During COVID, I remember driving by Moses Lake in Washington State where they were parking 737s. This is enough to made me want to cry. It was horrible, gorgeous because of all these planes, but it made you want to cry. I didn't know how many of them were going to go back up because everything was so strange back then. But people have asked the question, is this a restart of the aerospace manufacturing? And what I'm hearing the professionals say is, it's not really a restart. It's actually a rebuilding, a redistribution, a reorganization of the whole industry. In other words, right now is our time. In 5 years, it'll all be set. And the cities that take advantage of it will benefit from it.
So that's good. Actually, you gave two examples in your takeaways. But these takeaways aren't pertinent to us because you're saying they're not interested. I'm just trying to figure out who's interested in coming here.
Well, I'm starting conversations, and what's interesting is because of our infrastructure issues, the companies that I have to target I mean, I went through the entire list, and I went through and I purged it, and I sent it to someone I know that does mergers and acquisitions, and he highlighted it. And basically, out of 500 people that attended, there was like less than 10 companies that would qualify for Mountain Home because they have the numbers to be able to afford the infrastructure. And so what's interesting in aerospace is one company needs 2 or 3 others or more to support it in its final, preparation of products to send to Boeing.
Would you say aerospace is your number one entity that you're looking towards to bring in here?
For outbound, yes. RFIs, I'll respond to every single one. Every one that makes sense and we need to go after. And so there's the outbound and then there's the coming in. I don't think we're going to get very far waiting. And because when you're competing for an RFI, you're competing with every other city in the world, every other city in the country. So, and especially you're competing here locally.
Thank you.
Councilman McCarthy? Oh, sorry,
Oh, sorry. Dale, can you kind of expand? You mentioned this a couple times, and I'm just curious because your slide on page 7, well, 4, but it's 6. 6 submitted, 1 declined, withdrawn due to wastewater, and then you have 13 that no response prepared submitted due to needs in wastewater, airport, building pollutants. But I've heard you say a couple times because of infrastructure, lacking of infrastructure.
Right.
Can you expand on the type of infrastructure we're talking? Are we talking streets? Are we talking water, wastewater? Are we talking about wastewater? Is it a capacity issue or is it more of a treatment type?
Well,
I'm just curious.
No, that's really good. When it comes to food, any kind of food processing, it's just a straight out no. Can't even respond to it. Cheese, for example, we can't process, we can't deal with the after product of cheese. And so anything like that, we can't do. But that's a difficulty anyways because of water, the need for water. When it comes to aerospace, there's less water requirements and certainly less wastewater requirements. But still, when I look at the number of EDUs we have right now, with the level of growth and the requirement of housing for the base, and then Micron's asking for housing. They want housing. Everybody wants housing, but we need an industrial base bill to help support that. We need wastewater so we can actually have the EDUs to do it. And so, and that's why when we started at the beginning, I was talking about that bottom right is that we may have 700 jobs this last year that came to town, but in the course of, by the time it's, 2030, 31, we're going to have a bigger need. And so everything has to be growing with it. That's what's interesting in this whole effort, and it's a bit of a dance, is to see a city, every department has to grow, So fire department, police department, everybody has to grow together. And it's kind of, I think it's kind of elegant to watch because it takes collaboration, a level that's pretty sophisticated. I'm sorry.
So just real quick, Mayor.
The reason when he talks about the land, there's no services to the land. And that's a monumental task to get the water lines, the wastewater lines, the streets. That's like the shovel-ready projects here in Mountain Home. They know what they've got. So you take the Weech property, you take those are high dollars, and so, but I think
right.
He was asking what was another reason why. Was it just the wastewater infrastructure? Like, it's literally getting the infrastructure to said sites.
Well, and
Go ahead, Mayor, sorry. Thank you for that, because I understand like City View Drive, it's a perfect example of we had streets and utilities and everything. I guess specifically my question is, because you've talked about wastewater, and so I'm trying to kind of get down to here, kind of talked about food is out because it's a issue with wastewater and processing.
It's difficult, very difficult.
But I've also heard you talk about EDUs. So my question is wastewater more of a type, an issue of wastewater, or is this a capacity issue?
I would respond on both levels. And when I look at the properties that are north of the airport and north of Marathon Cheese, that's where our industrial area is, right? I know you know that. And I look at 10th, North 10th, going east and west out to Bypass Road. Who's going to pay for that? That's a road. So just starting with road. And then when you look at running a road not to Granary Road, so we can open up all those other properties. It's just all infrastructure. And so then we have layers of it, right? Because we not only have the road, but now we have, all the trenching and all the services that go alongside the road. Wastewater is really critical because wastewater, the capacity of our wastewater in different areas is going to be different. And the further out it gets in some areas is the more need it's going to need to be built up.
So it sounds like capacity.
It's capacity different than the EDUs. In other words, just the functioning side of it, getting, wastewater services to that property north of Marathon Cheese. It's like, what's the number, Chris? So anyway.
Which again, those are all the soft costs that, developers and everything are gonna have to pay up front and all that, so I understand.
But they don't
that
come.
piece. And they don't come because again, that's in the way of it. They're paying that up front before they're even breaking ground and, building and everything. So I understand that. I'm just trying to make
No, that's
sure I
good.
understand that we're being real specific on this when we're talking about the infrastructure and wastewater, because I don't want to bring raising alarms that we're
Right.
saying we don't have capacity
Oh, no,
necessarily.
yeah.
Is it more of a type? Because I know this is going to come into the conversation with Keller of, are we looking at a sewer lagoon or are we looking at a wastewater treatment? So that's why I'm
No, it's good.
specifically, sorry, and I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but is this a EDU capacity issue? I understand the getting it to, there, that's a
Right.
different thing. But is this EDU capacity or is this a type of wastewater issue?
I would, again, that's why I brought,
Excuse me.
that's why I brought this, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Yeah.
That's why I brought this slide up again, because on the bottom right there, it shows the potential growth. So if we have a company that we're landing for, 100 jobs, that's great. We're great today. And so I don't worry about EDUs this year. It's that capacity to be able to grow into, and are we going to hit a wall in 3 years, 5 years?
Right.
And so that's
Okay.
that's my thinking and my processing, and that's why I keep referring back to this slide.
Councilman McCarthy, it is a lot of type. So it is EDU, but most of them that we don't submit for are based off of the type of waste and the system we currently operate.
So anything like, I know we had in the past,
He
gloves.
he mentioned food processing.
Right.
You can't take almost any food processing because of the waste it creates. It can't go into our lagoon system. Chris?
Also, some of these, they show us the now discharge of wastewater.
No.
It's just,
crazy.
there's no, so when Dale says it's full, it really is
Yeah.
full.
You gotta have it to discharge it.
Yeah.
So, okay, just wanted to.
No, that's good. It's wicked. It's a wicked problem. It's a wicked problem.
All right, council. Anything else for Dale?
Mayor.
Councilman, Ojo?
So we've had a couple talks in the past about concepts of what step forward we can make and what mechanisms we can use to position ourselves better. Not necessarily a discussion for tonight, but it may be a discussion for us in parallel to or on the tail of a wastewater decision to start looking at what mechanisms we might want to use to entice business and how to get to shovel ready. Master plan industrial centers are popping up all over the West, right? Land is more available in Western states than usual. In Idaho, we've got urban renewal law, business improvement districts, municipal industrial development programs, local economic development act, community infrastructure district acts. Like there are a great many tools in the chest that we can utilize to get to a point. Some of this might seem like build it and they will come. That frankly holds pretty true in a lot of spaces, and some of that comes through public-private partnerships, through investment to to find the mechanisms and the funding to bring those about before those companies ever
Right.
come. So again, not necessarily a today discussion, but something to keep on the back burner while we progress through these things to figure out which direction we're going, what mechanism fits best
Right.
to get us the most
Right.
in the future.
Well, there's people in the region and beyond that know how to get this job done. I'm convinced. And I've continually been encouraged at all the friends we have in the region that are rooting for Mountain Home.
Yeah.
Seriously, rooting for Mountain Home. And I'm continuing just to promote Mountain Home, talk to people about Mountain Home. I talk about I-84, I call it the I-84 aerospace corridor, to try to pique their imagination because it goes from Micron to Mountain Home. And so if we can have the right kind of jobs here, our young people have reason to stay when they get out of high school. And I've talked to some of those companies, and they're really quality companies. They're really quality communities. And I could go on and on, you know.
Yeah.
So you guys are already here kind of late.
Well, I will say this in closing, guys. I think the heartbreaking thing is we worked hard to land a company here recently, and Dale came in and said we're still in the hunt, and then I sent an email to Councilman Sanders, say, hey, we're still in the hunt. And then Dale emails me, and I think the package that we presented was a pretty good package because we had state money. We had about $1 million allocated to that company to come, and then we were also going to go after the CDBG grant of $500,000. So it's not like we didn't go down swinging, but yeah. But kudos to Councilman President Council Sanders and Dale. Trying to land a huge fish. It wasn't a small fish. It was huge. And you got to keep swinging.
Gotta keep swinging.
Mr. Mayor, I didn't want to close this off. Just a quick couple of words. When Dale mentioned that the aerospace industry was very relational, I experienced that firsthand at the conference. Most folks were a little standoff first meeting me, and then I found something that we had in common, and it clicked.
Yep.
And I kind of looked at the rest of that conference the same way I looked at as part of my campaign strategy. Every time I'd ask somebody about my campaign, they said, well, I live in the county. I can't vote for you. My immediate response was, I bet you've got friends in the city. Oh, well, I do. Okay, well, if you feel inclined, talk to them about me and let me know if I can answer any questions for them. And I got that same kind of feeling in that response during the conference.
Yeah.
The person I was talking to may not have had a direct expansion in mind, but they were linked to 15 to 20 others.
They all know each other.
And the force multiplier is getting them to talk about us as well. But it is relationship based. So the little things we do one-on-one may pay off for us quite well in the future. But this particular industry, my introduction to it, yeah, I probably spent couple hours swapping war stories with folks who didn't know me from Adam because we both worn a uniform. So just sometimes it takes a while to get the word out, but the word's getting out. And I think our last visit was an indication that we're getting there.
Cool. Dale, what was the company that didn't come?
Hey,
I don't think
Mayor,
you can say it.
I
Mayor,
can't.
before we progress on that, there's a really specific thing in Idaho law that if we cross a line, we cannot meet under executive session for a very specific reason under subsection E. So please tread lightly.
I'll tell you offline. How about that? Last but not least, this handsome man made the cover of Aerospace, not cover, but inside the cover of Aerospace.
So this is Northwest Aerospace News Magazine. Where the camera is. Anyways, I left one for each of you on there. And you'll see in here, I wanted to use the upcoming air show to promote our city. And it's a great time to brag on our city. I enjoy bragging every day on our city, but the air show is just even better. And I have people actually I'm inviting and that will be coming to town for the air show. So on page 38, I wrote an article about why Mountain Home is where aerospace is coming to. And so this magazine is written by a recovering aerospace manufacturer, and Dean Cameron, a friend of mine too, and he was very excited about supporting us. He only writes about companies, aerospace manufacturers that are in the Pacific Northwest, Washington, Oregon, and Idaho. And we're in Idaho, so he's going to be writing more. I think he's coming down for the air show, and so he'll be writing more on that. And I'll probably keep bugging him for aerospace. This cost us not a dime.
Awesome.
So it goes out to 11,000 subscriber lists, many of which are aerospace manufacturers all over the United States and beyond. So, all right.
Thanks, Dale.
Thank you.
All right, council, really quick, non-action item. I guess it's city staff's requesting, but it was me because I just want to know the direction of Dale's presentation. This kind of rolls into the rail expansion. We went out for RFQ. Gosh, it was a while ago, and we ended up picking Keller as the engineer firm. You need to get the engineering specs done, so that allows you to go out for grant. And obviously, if you look at the expansion, it's moving the rail line, expanding the airport, so on and so forth. So obviously, you saw the dollar amount. That was the quote we got back. The question is that's the ask. Are we still moving forward with the future of the airport expansion and the move of the rail line? And if so, I need this study to go out for future funding in the future. Did I miss anything, Chris or Tiff?
Something they want to entertain this budget cycle.
So, yeah, so do I put in right now, or do you want me to put it off into the upcoming budget cycle?
Mayor,
Councilwoman Workload.
when do you foresee us having our fiscal year 27 budget cycle? What month?
That's a Paula question.
Council, back on April 15th, it's easy to remember, tax day, right? Cash carryovers due that Friday. We'll work through those numbers and didn't have presentation back, well, we usually do it in June, but we have some back that you guys look at in May. We'd like to do the grants a little bit this year. Presentation of grants instead of putting it in there and then doing worksheets later. We're trying to just try to do it different every year. We have the recommendations from the auditors, which also had to do on, so that stuff will be top of your budget worksheets. It's gonna look a little different, but
I guess I'm asking why when, because like one year we had it in May, another year we had it in July. So if it's something that's gonna be sooner than later, then maybe we can wait to see and how that fits in with your request. But if it's gonna be later, then when you say we need a decision made in the future, what are you looking at?
Oh, I just want to know the direction, what you want.
Like what time frame? Like, are you looking at?
In a perfect world, I'd say can you just give me a decision by next council meeting? Go ahead, Tiff.
The direction we need is this something that you're willing to pay this task order on in future? If not, then I need to tell Keller, thanks, but no thanks. We don't want to even deal with 273 acres and moving the rail.
So last fall I said no until the new fiscal year. This is why I'm asking these questions, right?
Right.
So if you guys can convince me to change my mind and now do it within this fiscal year, that's what I'm asking. Otherwise, I guess my answer is I'm going to defer it until the next fiscal year.
That's, as a staff member, that's where I'm at. Like, we didn't allocate any funds in this budget for this rail project. So we would have to, if you want, we will go and look at our budgets, not taking money enterprise funds. Because then I'm gonna have to go look up other memos from 6 months ago. Right? But we would go find funds that are allocated to another study that maybe isn't as important. Like, for instance, the facility study that got denied a while back. That I think is still important, but you previous.
Say,
Sorry,
we weren't here yet.
right? So that money is allocated. Do you want me to reallocate it to this if that's a priority? That's all I kind of want to know directionally, rather than keep spinning our wheels on the staff level and something that you guys don't think is the right direction for the city. Does that make sense?
What money got reallocated and how
It was
much?
remember we were gonna do a study for the, facility study?
There was a facility study presentation back in November that apparently, in my opinion, I don't believe you all read the proposal packets properly and shamed the poor presenter girl that she gave a terrible presentation.
Now I remember.
Yeah, it was boring.
Again,
Yeah, I'm not staring at you two on this side. I'm sorry. I am, but I'm not. So there you are with that. So that money's there. However, I'm still working the angle of a facilities study because it's in the admin budget and it is very much needed. City Hall is bursting at the seams and we're very outdated infrastructurally in a building. Well, for instance, how'd you all like to be shoved in here tonight? That was fun, wasn't it?
Man,
But I'll work on that later. Don't
she's
worry
on
about
a-
that, yeah.
Mayor.
So my priority is the future of Mountain Home. That's, sorry, Councilman Harjo, my priority isn't a facility study. Now, her and I will agree to disagree and sing Kumbaya tomorrow.
Yeah.
But my priority is the future of this 273 acres, the expansion of the airport rail. That's my ask. So, wait, hang on a second, Councilman Harjo.
Quickly running through. I knew where it was on the old website. We'll shoot from the hip on this one. Do we all remember collectively when the city acquired the rail spur? Approximate year.
18?
That's pretty approximate.
Yeah.
I could look tomorrow, but I'm gonna say 20.
Certainly not going to hold you to it. Just in generalities, like we have an infrastructure asset that again is one of the most attractive functions of the potential for commercial and industrial growth. I would like to see us support this. Through this council and previous, we've made significant efforts and considerations on the future and understanding what the property tax implication and benefit is, not just to the city of Mountain Home itself, but in the very elementary process of weighing commercial and industrial property tax and that potential of lowering residential, because right now residential is largely carrying the load for our community. I would like to see us move forward on this task order and not stay stagnant. We've acquired ground in multiple instances here. This is the first step forward. It doesn't all get done today. It's a cost. Don't get me wrong. 36 grand and change is a chunk of money. However, sometimes you got to spend money to make money in that sense. My 2 cents is I'd like to move forward on this.
Okay, Councilman Sanders.
How much was set aside for that?
Mr. Mayor, I would say that there is value in what's being asked for in the task order. I also recall, prior to me taking office, receiving a packet that talked about a similar study that was done, I want to say about 4 years ago, that I'll make available to the city staff, that talked in detail about not only the rail itself, but its size and conditions and what the cost would be to upgrade them to a certain standard. That information I would really love to see in the hands of Keller if we take this task order forward, kind of help them not have to come out and resurvey and redo and start from the ground up.
They're gonna have to do some of it environmentally anyways, and that is the intention. So the intention and Chris jumped in. This is task, is to do discovery so that we can go out for some of the grant funding available specific for rail rehabilitation. And so that would be our end goal and trying to get off the ground in this. We know there was some kind of creek that went through there that they thought they had a, so.
So without saying I have a definitive response for you, I'll say at this point, based on the information I have, position of the moon, all those things, I am favorably inclined with staff proceeding.
So,
No,
no, and forgive me, Mayor and Council, I just, before I made an action item, we have 2 new bodies and we didn't know where we were sitting. It's another task order with Keller and Associates. And so and it wasn't allocated. And so I wanted to kind of know if you want me to go back, I have a good idea where I can pull it from in admin. There's a facility study. The growth to the community is priority and I'm good with that. And so if that's the direction you want, I will bring a memo and everything back to vote next time. And then you can decide yes or table it.
Yes, please. I would like for you to put it on as an action item. Give us a couple weeks to gather information and then we'll vote next meeting.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, meeting council? Meeting adjourned.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, quick.
What?
Sorry, go ahead.
Councilman Harder will leave us.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I didn't hear anything, so I was like, it's 8:30.
Could have left us a second there, Mayor.
Don't stop the feed. Keep
No,
going.
I didn't.
Yeah.
Don't worry. You have until 9 o'clock and then it's going to shut us off.
Well, that being said,
Then we're going to know what it does.
Joe, go ahead.
Mayor, two small and quick things. Reminder for the community that food distribution is April 23rd at Optimus Park. That is free to the public and open to all. And then just based on one of our consent agenda items, item 20, I would really like to see at some point, if we could choose an appropriate meeting that might benefit both the city youth council and the city council itself, to bring them in for introductions and have them sit in for a meeting. I think it would be beneficial for both sides.
Mayor.
Council, work with.
So every meeting they assigned a member to attend. And I'm not sure if there was one this meeting, but for the last several ones, I've seen at least one member in attendance. So, and then they go back and they report their findings. If they can't make it in person, then I think they do watch it online. But they do meet, I think, every first and third Fridays at the library, if any wants to attend.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes, just wanted an update, Mayor, on DIFAC applications. We've received some in person and that where we're at and timeline for bringing possible appointments to this body.
Yep, sent that to you in an email today, I believe.
Right, just trying to bring awareness for the council, kind of figure out what timeline you're looking at.
I sent it all to the council.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Yep. So for next meeting.
Most likely.
Okay. And then just to bring it up, I know we had talked in the past, it was brought up about a town hall for joint. I haven't seen anything yet. Is that still something that we're even talking about, or?
I'm still agreeable to it at the condition.
I think council's good.
That was
Yeah, that's what we said. Yeah.
I just haven't seen anything with coordination, so I didn't know if it just got in the weeds, so. Okay.
But the council's got in the way. Committee's got in the way.
That's all I have. Thanks.
All right. Meeting adjourned.
Gonna bring in, someone gave me a book of all the cartoons. Remember the old Addams
I'm going to
Family
start
cartoons?
extending.